What does this start? What was that start? What? What did I just watch? Is that meant to be the water gun fight from the very start? It was a very humid day. Not even a slight breeze was blowing, but it had an unpleasant summer. One that wasn't only hot, but swelteringly so. There were various articles of clothing hung out to dry in the messy apartment windows, but the lack of wind evoked an impression far removed from coolness. In fact, it only felt more oppressive. There were crooked houses and apartments lining the narrow, twisting road. In addition, there were planters and flower pots whose contents were beginning to rot, as well as bicycles and cars on the sides of the roads, making it more cramped, more oppressive, and all the more sweltering. Nobody who was in this place at the time was visiting it voluntarily, but in spite of what everyone might expect, a single motorcycle came rolling in. There he is. The motorcycle stopped in front of a two-story apartment, one that could hardly be called neat even as flattery. A man, fairly old and wrinkled, stepped off. When a neighbor nearby hanging at the laundry noticed him, she called out, This is the exact same start as Chapter 3. Okay, yeah, and we go through the... Suddenly I got goosebumps all over my body. Like something bad was about to happen for no reason. Everyone gets this feeling in a different way. Some people get a twitch in their eyelids or some kind of movement in their ears. In my case, I got goosebumps. Satoko was supposed to be cooking dinner tonight. We didn't have much inside the refrigerator, so I asked her to go grocery shopping. I was just watching TV and relaxing while I waited for her. She was usually back by the time my cartoon was over, after which she'd start cooking dinner. But the cartoon was over. The news had started and Satoko wasn't home yet. Satoko sometimes waited until they had a sale at the store. In that case, she'd usually come home late. That must be what was happening. It was too early for me to start worrying about her. I can't explain this feeling. I can't explain it, but I feel extremely worried. Once I started feeling like that, I couldn't just sit in the room and wait for her. I thought she might know where Satoko might be. She's never around when I need her. Hanu's not with me 24 hours a day. She sometimes falls asleep, and sometimes she goes out for walks. Though in her case, it's not a walk, but more like a stalk. She follows people around when she finds someone interesting, and she enjoys observing them. Anyway, I had no choice. I had to find Satoko on my own. I had a good idea of which stores Satoko goes to. I should check those first. We're in Hinamizawa. If I asked people, they'd tell me where she went.
This
This is in the morning time, though?
ありがたや、ありがたや。
ニパー、それより今日、さとこが買い物に来なかったですか？
さとこちゃんの顔は見てないね。私がずっとお店番してたから、来れば見てるんだけどね。
I didn't even have time to say thanks. I ran to the next store. People were greeting me and waving at me. Usually I'd smile and greet them back, but I had no time for that at the moment. Satoko, Satoko, Satoko. I need Satoko in my life. I was able to survive for so long because of her support. Without her, the world would be so empty and boring. Satoko is nonchalant and optimistic, unlike me. I've learned so many things from her over the past 100 years, but I still need to learn more from her.
Satoko! Satoko!
People stared at me as I ran by them, screaming out her name. I didn't care what they thought, though. Satoko. Satoko. Why are they looking at me like that? I'm looking for Satoko. Somebody tell me where she is. My heart was convulsing inside my body like a fish out of the water. What little stamina I have. I hate my body for being so young.
角のお惣菜屋さんが夕方に売れ残りを安くするでしょう。そこに行ってるかもね。
I went to a few different places, but I still couldn't find her anywhere. The people I talked to gave me advice on where to go, but I couldn't find her in any of the places they suggested. I continued to run looking for her. I continued to run even when I bumped into people.
さあ、どうだろう。
夕方は人がたくさん来るから覚えちゃいないかもしらん。
There are only a few places in Hinamizawa where we can go grocery shopping. It shouldn't be that difficult to find her, so why couldn't I? I tripped on something inside the street. I fell flat on the ground. In the street. I injured my hand on a small rock embedded in the ground. I didn't feel much pain even though I said ouch. I just felt hot as if touched by a frying pan. Suddenly someone handed me a pretty handkerchief.
大丈夫？怪我とかしなかったかな？レナ、サトコを見なかったですか？
Venna was carrying a grocery bag. Hello, John Soulsborne. How are you? I heard that Satsuko bumps into Venna often when she goes grocery shopping. They tend to choose the same stores.
サトコちゃんを？
Good.
今日は見
Nice.
てない
Hello,
の？
Diana.
サトコちゃんがお買い物の日だったの？
Yep, I'm chilling. Oh, hey, I'm first. Perfect timing. It's funny because you guys arrived both at the exact same time, basically. Yeah, I'm good. I'm chilling. It was a decently productive day, I would say. You're a fist now. What do you mean you're a fist now?
そうです。会っていませんですか？
Oh, okay. You're fist. I'm a fist. Okay. I just read it as first. I guess, like, I just filled in the blanks.
わからないな。今日がサトコちゃんのお買い物の日なら、絶対にスーパーひなみざわの特売日を逃さないと思うもん。
Okay, yeah, so this is,
でも、レナもスーパーにいたけど、会わなかったし。
But I wonder how the uncle just knows to find, like, how does he know to find Satoko immediately? Is this niche? Yeah, this, I mean, I don't know how niche you would classify this as, but it is a visual novel. But I don't know if you would classify this as, like, niche necessarily, because it's like, it was fairly popular. Maybe now you could consider it niche, like, but when it released, I don't think it was that niche. My brain wasn't getting enough oxygen. It took me a while to understand what Venna was talking about. I understood that Venna didn't see Satoko. It's well known for visual novel fans, where there you go, Diana. That wasn't the point. They had a huge sale in the market today. There's no way that Satoko would miss that sale. You still didn't see her there? What was that supposed to mean?
何かあったの？サトコちゃん、お財布とか家の鍵でも忘れちゃったか
The
な？
uncle only knows the home where, like, he lived in before. How does he just know where Satoko is always? Like, he's just, like, because he's not going to go to the supermarket. I don't know why he assumed Satoko would be there. Like, if that's the case, then good on him for guessing that. But, yeah. I couldn't find the right words to explain. Did I tell her that I feared something bad happened to Satoko and that's why I was looking for her? No, I couldn't do that. I couldn't think too deeply about why she hadn't returned home.
どうしたの？困ってるなら力になるよ。話して。
I knew she was just trying to help me. I even thought I needed someone to help me just a few moments before. But now that she was here, I had no idea what I was supposed to say. No, that's not it. The truth is I know. Somehow I know. I wouldn't have to know if it was someone else. But I have to know this. Vika Furude has to know what was going on. I know it. I remember it. I knew this was coming. I experienced a world before where Satoko suddenly disappeared. But the possibility for that happening is as low as Akasaka showing up in Hinamizawa. It only happened randomly in my other lives. This is not the first time. It happened before too. I should see it for myself. I needed to see if I'd gotten stuck inside a devastating world again.
力になるから話して。ごめんなさいです。さよなら。あ、リカちゃん。
I started running. I couldn't pretend like I didn't know where she was. Please don't tell me that I was blessed only up until this point. That I'm about to fall back into my unfortunate fate from here on. I thought that's this world... But this is kind of different, right? Because isn't this literally a few days before the Watanagashi? Last time it was like weeks before, no? Or like 2 weeks before. But this is like... She started 2 weeks before. This is probably like 2 or 3 days before the Watanagashi. I thought I'd be able to defeat my deadly fate in this life. This was just horrible. It was horrible that this was happening in this world. I was standing in front of the place that I hate the most in Hinamizawa. Yes, it's Satoko's real home. The Hojo residence. I've been living with her since last fall, so this house was empty. In the beginning, she used to come back here to pick up her clothing and other necessities. But when she moved most of her stuff to my house, Satoko stayed away from this place. This was a sad place for Satoko because all she could remember of it was the horrible time she spent with her uncle and aunt, and the memory of her missing her brother Satoshi. That's why she never wanted to come back here. But that wasn't the reason I hate this house. It's because I know what happens whenever this house becomes an issue in my life. Oh God, please. Please bless me with just one more fortune. I closed my eyes and prayed, and I slowly opened them. The window was open on the second floor. I saw a faded curtain swinging inside. And as I saw that, my knees realized what was going on. Whoa, what is this? Single? I don't think I've heard this song before. Even before my mind processed it. The next moment, I lost strength in my legs and collapsed on the ground. I saw an unfamiliar motorcycle parked by the house. I also saw laundry and a futon hanging outside. I gently opened the door. I guess we'll see what happens. Because we don't know. We know that Satoko is probably getting, you know, unfair treatment, to put it lightly, inside the home. But I wonder what Rika's gonna do in this situation, because at this point she's like very determined to she's very determined to change her fate. So I wonder if this is, usually in other lives she's like, oh, once he comes back I give up on this world. But I wonder if, because of her determination to change, if anything's gonna be different. I was certain that someone was living here. It's not like she can't, no, not necessarily at this not like she can now give up. Yeah, she probably won't give up. But you know, I wonder what she will do. Because last time she kind of hid it from everyone for a while, but I wonder if she's going to tell everyone immediately this time. I was certain that someone was living here. It was proof that someone was living inside the residence, inside this house. It's never good when there's someone living inside this house. This was very, very bad. I knew exactly why. I knew why, but I felt like I wanted to act like I didn't know.
Rika? Satoko!
Satoko went outside to take the futon in and noticed me.
Rika?
Satoko looked down and forced herself to smile. So sad. It wasn't just her expression. I could tell that her left cheek was red and swollen.
Satoko, こんなとこにいないで、お家へ帰りましょうです。
I took her hand, but she still looked down without squeezing back.
リカ、私、今日からこっちの家で暮らそうと思いますの。どうしてなのですか？私のおじさんが帰ってきましたの。それで、こっちの家で一緒に暮らそうって話になりまして。サトコは、そんなの望んでないはずなのです。意地悪なおじさんなんかと一緒に住んで楽しいはずがないのです。でも、どうしようもありませんわ。リカの家へ帰っても連れ戻されるだけですもの。リカに迷惑がかかってしまいますわ。
She gave up with a sad smile. Looks exactly how she looked 1 year ago, 1982. Her uncle only slapped her face, and she's back to being the Satoko from 1982. The cheerful Satoko that I knew until yesterday could no longer be found. I took care of Satoko and tried to heal her wounded heart for over a year. She finally got her smile back. Her uncle took it all away with just one slap to her face. A broken soul can recover over time, but her damaged heart can never be fixed completely. I just took the broken pieces and put them back together. She does. It's like a modifier. It's very hard to explain what it is, but it's like, it's meant to be like a, it's just a way to, I guess it's like a quirk that you can have, that you can add to the end of your sentence. Yeah, okay. The cracks in her heart will always be there. That's why she wouldn't come with me, no matter how hard I tried to pull her hand. She couldn't get over the fear. She knew just how scary her uncle could be.
Satoko, nanne hottara kan? Doko ikiyonne?
I heard a disgusting voice from inside the house. Satoko stared at the ground, her shoulders were shaking.
Nanjaya odore wa?
He came out and stood right behind her.
なんでもありませんの。お友達と会っただけですのよ。
したらんどうでもええんねん。それよか風呂け。磨かんかい風呂け。わしは風呂に入りたいしちゃったなこら。
Satoko scampered back inside the house like a terrified small animal. I felt devastated as I watched her go.
遊びの約束だったかい。すまんの。 ちょいと聡子は家の片付けで忙しいんよ。わしは聡子の叔父なんねん。ちょっと長いこと出張に出とってん。ようやくひなみ沢に戻ってきたわけなんよ。
Liar. He only showed back up because his lover went missing. In another world, I once let my hatred out on him, but then he inflicted that anger equal in turn onto Satoko. So I couldn't allow the dark flame burning within my chest to reflect in my eyes. So I couldn't make myself smile and I couldn't insult him. All I could do was give him a short bow and run away from the scene.
なんね泣く子も黙るわしのガンにビビってもうたんかいね。
I heard his hideous laughter from behind me. I cried as I ran away. I couldn't stop crying. I thought this was a perfect world up until today. Why was God doing this to me? It was too cruel. I couldn't give up. I couldn't do anything, but I still had hope for this world. I didn't think the luck I had until yesterday was just a random thing. I went back to my house in a hurry. I needed to make a phone call. I didn't know the number because it was my first time calling the place. I looked inside the phone book, and I found it easy. I made a call to that number. What's the streaming schedule? Every day or so, I try to do it at like 7:30 or sometime between 7:30 and 8 my time. Recently I've been doing it at around 8, but like ideally it's between 7:30 and 8 my time. Right now it's 8:30 my time, so you can, I don't know what time it is for you, but you know, you can adjust for what that is. But I try to do it every day at around that time. And also, you know, some things will appear, but overall I try to do it every day at this time.
フルデさんからお電話をいただけるなんて思いませんでした。何かございました？
I already knew that Oishi could never save Satoko based on what I've seen in my previous lives. For him, Satoko is only a good way to get at the Sonozaki family. Her uncle is probably his prey in that regard too. Even if I talked to him about her situation, he would do nothing to save her. The only thing he'd tell me would be to call the child consultation center.
大石、赤坂とお話ししたいのですが。
赤坂さんですか？温泉行ってますよ。和倉温泉。
Wakura? It's not anywhere near here. I thought he was staying here until Watanagashi.
なんでも温泉宿をやってる親類にご厄介になれるとかだそうで。いやいや、羨ましいことです。え？和倉ですか？石川県ですよ。能登半島の。
No way. He told me that he was staying here until Watanagashi. I thought he meant he was staying in Hinamizawa. But did he actually mean this area of the country in general?
赤坂と連絡は取れませんですか？
That was a meaningless question. There's no way I could get him to come here while he's enjoying his trip with his wife. Even if I can talk to him over the phone, he'd probably only tell me to call the child consultation center or something.
お泊まりの旅館は聞いてませんしね。ものすごい高級旅館だって言ってたから、多分某有名なあそこだろうなとは思うんですがね。
New song as well?
まあ最近の宿はガードが固いから部屋番号も知ってないと繋いでくれませんしね。
わかりました。でも赤坂は綿流しのお祭りに来るとは言ってませんでしたか？
そうです。こちらへは能登への行きと帰りに滞在されるんですよ。だから先日も一泊されてくつろがれた後すぐ立たれました。だから
So how many days is it until the festival? I thought it was like a few days until the festival, is it not?
あなたにお土産を買ってくると言ってましたよ。
Oh, terrible. I thought it was too good to be true. And it was kind of strange for him to stay in a boring place like this. My luck seems to be turning. This might not be a surprise though. Just like I can roll a 6 3 times in a row, I can roll a 1 3 times in a row too. Happy things and unhappy things can happen with equal probability.
もしもし、何か伝言があるなら会った時に伝えておきますよ。
I looked at the calendar on the wall. I didn't know when he was coming back, but I was certain it wouldn't be at least for one more week. I thought back to the past to try and remember what happened. That guy will break Satoko apart in 1 week. I couldn't wait that long. I had to give up on seeking help from Akasaka. Well, it's okay. So I had one more option. One more person I can rely on.
いえ、いなければいいのです。ありがとうですよ、ニパー。
I'll get the phone after thanking him. I couldn't make a phone call to the next person. I'd have to talk to him in person. I put my shoes on and headed to the Idia clinic. Oh, Idia, okay. The clinic's hours were over for the day. There were usually no one here after that. However, since Tomitake was here, they should still be inside the building for a meeting. They had to be there. The front door of the clinic was locked as I expected. I went around to the back door and rang the bell. The whole clinic is nervous when Tomitake is around. They usually ignore visitors, but I'm special.
どうしましたか？緊急の要件と聞きました。
私まで用とあっては穏やかな話ではなさそうね。
Irie and Takano showed up as soon as I was taken to the visitor's room. If Rika Furude had an emergency, then it's priority for these two people. I'm the most important person in this village.
ひょっとして誰かに狙われているという。
あなたの近辺は常時山犬の中でも特に優秀な連中が警護してくれているわ。あなたとあの日した約束をちゃんと守っているわよ。
I had no doubt about that. They saved me right away when we had that confrontation with those 3 delinquents the other
い
day.
え、そうではないのです。お願いがあるのです。実は、聡子の危機を救ってあげてほしいのです。
聡子ちゃんに何かあったんですか？
Irie doesn't have that much power alone, even if he really wants to save her. But Takano controls the mountain dogs, so she does have that power. In my previous lives, I was never able to get help from the mountain dogs because I wasn't on good terms with Takano. This world is different. I have better relationship with her in this life, and she even kept the promise she made. I trust their ability completely now.
あの北条哲平さんがですか？なんてことでしょう。
It was mainly Satoko's aunt who was abusing her last year, but Irie knows that her uncle was violent with her too. I told him that Satoko had gone back to the same condition she was in the previous
こ
year.
のままでは、いつ何があるのかわかりませんです。聡子を助け出すために力を貸してほしいのです。
Irie seemed to want to do something for her, but he didn't know exactly what to do.
こういうのはどうすればいいんでしょう。やはり警察に相談した方がいいでしょうか。
さてどうかしら。現時点では親権者が現れて聡子ちゃんを保護しただけよ。聡子ちゃんが大怪我でもしたというならともかくそういうわけではないんでしょう。
そんなのは時間の問題なのです。このままでは大変なことになってしまうのです。
I hate to say that's only a matter of time. I knew how she was going to get abused and how she was going to end up. I've seen it in the past. I really wanted to tell them about it, but I couldn't do that. As it hasn't happened in this world yet, they think I was just imagining it. But it happened in the past.
こういうのはまず児童相談
Like
所
it
に訴
happened
える
in
の
the
が
past. I
先じ
don't
ゃないかし
understand.
ら。
Like, she doesn't need to explain like, oh, she saw it in previous worlds. She could just explain, oh, it happened in the past. Like, it doesn't matter that that the uncle didn't do anything now, because he did it in the past.
そういえば以前聡子ちゃんが児童相談所に虚偽の通報をしたなんてことがありましたね。ちゃんと話を聞いてくれるといいのですが。
The answer is no. My friends contacted the Child Consultation Center several times in the past, but Satsuko always refuses their help. She claims that she isn't being abused. The Satsuko from 1983 might have asked for their help, but currently she was the Satsuko from 1982. For her, living with her uncle reminds her of the time when Satoshi was around. She feels like Satoshi will come back if she can live strongly without always relying on her brother. Even if the Child Consultation Center were to take the case seriously, it's just too late. Try to remember. In the most recent world I experienced, it only took a few days after Satsuko was kidnapped by her uncle. It only took a few days for him to tear her heart apart. We had no time to waste. We needed to take action quickly.
聡子ちゃん自身が助けを求めてくれないことには助けようがないのが悔しいです。
入江先生の方から警察やお役所に連絡することもできるとは思うけど、気の毒とは思うけど。
違うのです。高野の力で聡子を助け出してほしいのです。
Yuri and Takano looked shocked and both went quiet. They didn't expect me to seek help from Takano.
それは強硬的な手段に訴えろということですか？
僕はそういうお願いをしに今日ここへ来ていますのです。そうでなければこんな時間に押しかけたりしませんです。
お気持ちはわかります。ですが
入江、聡子を大事に思うならどうか一生のお願いなのです。聡子を助けてくださいなのです。聡子はあと何日もしないうちに本当にひどいことになってしまいます。それは決まっていることなのです。もうしばらく様子を見てみようでは見殺しにするのと全く同じなのです。入江は去年の聡子をもう忘れてしまったのですか？もうそうなっているのです。今この瞬間にも。そしてあと数日で取り返しのつかないことになってしまうのです。
I wonder what's I gonna say. All I could do was stare at him, believing that Irie could see the future only I knew, the tragic end awaiting Satoko reflected in my eyes. Irie remained silent for too long, a time to call brief. Someone trying to think of an excuse to avoid the issue wouldn't go silent that long. He was recalling Satoko's terrible state last year, and seriously considering if my plea was as urgent as I made it out to be. I know that he really cares about her. That's why I need his help.
どうしようかしらね。
Irie nodded and looked up. I guess he finally came to a conclusion. I just hope it's a
高
positive
野さ
one.
ん、リカちゃんの頼みを聞いてあげてください。去年、さとこちゃんに何の手も差し伸べられなかった無力さに悩んだことがあります。これは、その時傍観して手を尽くさなかった私が罪を滅ぼす唯一のチャンスだと思います。
しかし、そうはおっしゃいますけれど。
Akano didn't think that Irie would make that decision. She seemed shocked to hear his
当施
response.
設の責任者として正式に高野さんにお願いしたいと思います。さとこちゃんをどうか助けてあげてください。
入江先生、助けるという言葉がどういう意味か少し
I
わ
still
か
don't
りか
understand,
ね
like,
ます。
why does Takano have the ability to command, like, this secret, I don't even know what to call them, force of
ど
people?
うか落ち着いてください。
さとこちゃんは我々にとって欠かすことのできない存在です。これまでも、そしてこれからも
In
我
this
々の研
corner
究
weighing
に
30
最大限
pounds,
貢献するでしょう。
And who's in the other corner? Okay. This corner weighing 800 pounds of pure muscle, the Ghent of Tess. What is this something I have to search up? Mysterious Renaissance painting depicting either the Duke of Tess or what is this? No, not Ghent is printed like. Oh, okay, Gent. Okay. Oh, okay, like the like gentleman. I see. Yeah, okay. Like, because it's an actual gentleman that you're talking about.
本件は高野さんの職務に含まれるものとお
Johnson
察ししま
reference.
す。
Oh, okay, okay. I never watched JonTron much, but I know like he was a very, you know, like popular video game reviewer. Irie continued, though Takano tried to persuade
所
him.
長、入江京介としてお願いいたします。高野さん、どうかさとこちゃんを救ってください。
I stared into Takano's eyes together with
高
him.
野もどうか聡子の友人として助けてあげてくださいです。
助けてください。という言い方がお二人とも実に偽善的ね。さとこちゃんをさらって永遠に監禁するわけじゃないんでしょ？
Entering a bear in boxing gloves with spikes. So are you saying the bear is the gent of Tess?
さとこちゃんにこれまでと同じ生活を送らせるために救うのでしょ？それはつまり叔父の方を摘出せよという
No, they're
ご命令
two.
です
So
わよ。
it's just me, 30-pound slime in a suit, versus those two.
卑怯な言い方をすれば、妖精に対しどう対処するかを決定する権限が高野さんにあります。でもそれが卑怯ならば、私がはっきりそれを口にしても構いません。
Gent is 9 feet tall. So how am I supposed to beat this then? Okay?
入江先生、いえ、入江所長、そのご命令を実行すれば、私は無論、そして入江所長も責任を問われることになりますが、その覚悟は終わりですか？
I looked at his face. Unlike me, Irie has many things to lose. I knew that Takano's words would shake him emotionally. However, Irie was determined.
ええ、構いません。
You get to pick door 1 or door 2. Oh, okay, okay. Do I have any visual representation of what each door looks like? Or, what do I see?
申し開きをする場へ引き出されても、 自身の心を裏切るよりはるかにマシです。
左門がどういうものかもご存じないのに大した虚勢だことで。
They're identical, but one may help. Does it just say door number 1 and 2 on it, or does it even, like, say the numbers by it at all?
高野さんが上手にやってくだされば、東京に知られずに済みます。
And they're both, like, just wooden doors, or, like, what do they, like, what, like, if they're both identical, how exactly do they look? You know, am I dealing with, like, a metal door here? Is it, like, you know, like, ivory door? Like, what, you know, give me a description to, like, help me understand, you know, just overall how the doors look like.
それで誰もが円満に決着できませんか？
リスクばかりで見返りのない仕事ね。
Are they old and rickety, or like they look very exorbitant?
神社の宝物を他にもたくさん見せてあげますです。もう見せるのを意地悪したりしないです。
I'm guessing they're just like, you know, normal doors. That's what I'm just gonna be assuming.
だから今回だけ助けてほしいのです。
The risk she's taking is larger than the reward I'm offering. That's about the only thing I can offer her. I don't care about the traditions of the Furude Shrine as long as I can save my friend from suffering.
わかりました。
Now pick 1 or 2 or the bear and the Gent get to hit first. Alright. I will... You know what? Let's coin flip here. Alright, let's coin flip. Heads, I pick door 1. Tails, I get door 2. Alright, where's this? Boom. What is it? What is it? What is it? Alright, I'm picking door 2 then.
これじゃ私が悪者みたいだものね。
She forced a smile and accepted the favor I asked her for.
ありがとう、高野さん。
どういう風に助けるかは一任いただきます。
In door 2, a second 30-pound slime. Is it just identical to me? Is it a duplicate? Like, what does this 30-pound slime look like?
具体的なプランは後でお好みと相談します。
後ではダメです。今でないとダメなのです。
She promised to save Satoko, but she still wasn't motivated for it. It'd be too late if she didn't do something right now. I tried to make Takano understand that this is an urgent matter.
そうですね。リカちゃんも、そして私も、
Door 1 was a machine
しっ
gun.
かり納得のいく
I
決
don't
着
even know
が
if
つ
I
く
would
こ
be
とを
able
願
to
っていま
lift
す。
up the machine gun, though. Maybe the second 30-pound slime is gonna help me.
こんな時間にせかして申し訳ありませんが、
Maybe I can, you know
どう
what?
かお
Maybe I
願い
can
できませんか？
offer the 30-pound slime as a, you know, like, maybe that other slime is edible. Since, like, I'm not edible, I can, like, pick up the slime and throw it at them, and then they eat it. You are. No, I thought we've been over this. I'm not edible, but maybe the other slime is.
二人とも、さとこちゃんのこととなると目の色が違うんだから。わかりました。少し待たせるかもしれませんがお待ちください。
無理を聞いてくれてありがとう。
いいえいいえ、私の給与査定者の頼みですもの。笑顔でお引き受けいたします
Gent has massacred slime too and is battling towards me. Gonna read more Umineko? Sounds good. Did you read more last night? You know, after, like, I know you said you wanted to read more. Like, how far did you get?
リカちゃんはさっきの約束、絶対に忘れないでよ。
きっとなのです。神社に来た時は、おまんじゅうとお茶もつけますのです。
Takano smiled slightly and left the room. Once we finally heard her footsteps fade away, the tension in the room dissolved. Hide offered me something to drink, but I refused. He must have thought everything was taken care of, but I couldn't relax until Satoko physically returned to me. Okay, Della is bleeding on the floor with broken bones and hope. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. How do I have blood and bones when I'm just a yellow slime here? Okay, can I, like, repair myself or something? Okay, maybe I can, like... Maybe I can suffocate the bear. I can, like, go up and, like, go into the bear's, like, airway and then block it so it can't breathe. Just drank Della like a slushy. Okay, now that I'm inside the body, I feel like it's a perfect time for me to, like, wrap around the lungs or something, no?
いりえ、さとこですが、お薬とかは大丈夫なのですか？
I'm on the ninth segment now, I think. Shove yourself into yourself. What, create a black hole? Rip Della, he was a smoothie. But I'm not edible, okay? So I'm pretty sure I would be, like, the bear couldn't physically consume me then, right? If I'm not edible. Okay, Diana. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your Umineko.
おじは、さとこが逃げ出
You're
すと思って
saying that like like there was
家から
any
出さないと
chance.
思いますから、もうここへ来ることはできないと思います。
幸いなことに、先週まとめて針と薬を渡してあります。
You can eat inedible things, it just won't be digested or taste good. Well, there we go. Won't the bear just die from eating me then?
ですので、しばらくは問題ないでしょう。
Or drinking me or consuming
た
whatever?
だ、強い精神負担は薬でも
Well, there we go.
抑えきれません。少しずつ追い詰められ、いつか取り返しのつ
See,
かない
next
こ
week
と
where
に
you're
なる
like
でしょ
on fire, make him fight a black hole. Well, how do you even want me to beat that? I'm pretty sure nothing can. What are you fundamentally made up of? What is slime? I always imagine it like a gelatin. Like, yeah, a gelatin. Not jello in terms of like, you know, how do you say? Like not jello, the thing you eat, but like, one of those, like, how do you say? Like Orbeez. But like a lot. You know yeah, maybe it is Orbeez, I'm not too sure, but it's like the balls you put in the water and then they swell up, right? So that's kind of like how I did it. Why would that kill a bear though? Because it suffocates him. So you are aqueduct? Yeah, I guess so. That's like the material or texture that I always imagine myself to be. Akano hadn't come back yet. I thought it would be bad news if she came back too early. I started feeling nervous after she'd taken so long. You can beat a black hole. How can I beat a black hole? What can I do to beat a black hole? He insisted that I go home because it was getting very late. I couldn't go home and relax, however, until I heard from her that everything was taken care of. I had to wait for her to come back. I needed to deal with the tension until then. Look up the Aqueduct's lawsuit. Failed to report for selling a banned hazardous substance. Well, there we go. See? I'm inedible then. I am a hazardous substance. Just say so. What am I? Am I like the other power scalers Dianail on Reddit? I just say I beat it so I do? I'll start calling you the choker. Why am I the choker? Why? How am I supposed to beat a black hole? How can I choke against a black hole? I'm not meant to win. Over an hour later, Takano finally returned.
お待たせ。
Kids who ate them are sterile, so is literally woman repellent. I mean, fair. You know what? That means I am inedible, because if you eat me, you become sterile.
ああ、いかがでしたか?
I was looking for the right words. I got a very bad feeling from her reaction.
残念だけど、簡単にいかなくなったわ。
どうしてですか?
This burden of proof shoved to the opponent even if it's not right. You can prove I can't, or you can't prove I can't beat a black hole. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's, you know what? That sounds about right, Diana. Seems about right to me.
つい最近、沖宮で殺人事件があったらしいの。
Okay, sounds good, Diana. We'll see. So to fight, Della is a sterile giant bear. Are you saying the bear is sterile because it ate me?
その事件に何らかの関与があると疑って、 北条哲平を警察がマークしてるらしいわね。
事件？何ですかそれは。
間宮とかいう女が園崎家の上納金に手を出して見せしめに殺されたとかなんとかで、警察が北条家と園崎家の関係に慎重になったらしいのよ。その女はどうも北条哲平と実婚らしい。綿流しも近いしね。お社様のたたりの5年目をなんとか阻止したい警察が、北条哲平が今年の犠牲者じゃないかとマークして釣り糸を垂らしてるって話みたい。
What if I make the black hole sterile, right? When I fight it. That way, it can't keep consuming things, right? It can't make... What exactly... Because the black hole needs to keep, like, filling itself, right? It needs to keep consuming. But if I make it sterile, that means it can't... Like, it will eventually implode in itself, right? But it can still suck. Maybe. But I'm just thinking, if it has nowhere to spit out the things it sucks in, maybe it's doable.
釣り糸って何なんですか？
北条哲平をマークしてれば、お社様のたたりの真犯人を釣り上げられると睨んでるのよ。
なんてことだ。では
リカちゃん、本当に申し訳ないんだけど、警察のマークが外れるまで山犬には手の出しようがない。
そんな山犬の方ならもっと困難な任務でもこなせるでしょうに。
それは入念な準備と計画に基づき、しかるべき機を見ての話です。通常は長い監視期間を設け、その上でタイミングを測ります。
Yeah, that's fair.
同等の任務なら半年から1年をかけるところです。
There's no escape, no... So, why would I agree to this fight? You know, what if I just didn't agree to the fight? What if I'm like, I don't want to fight the black hole, especially while I'm gonna be lit on fire.
今更言うことではありませんが、私たちは決して日の当たるところへ出ることができない存在です。日の元へ出たならば灰になる存在なのです。だからマークされ眩しく照らし出された今の状態では近づくことすらできない。
ではいつならその木だと言うんですか？
最も早くて綿流しの後ね。多分綿流しが終われば警察もマークを解くかもしれない。
Late. She's saying it'd be after Watanagashi. I don't even know if that was a day after or a year after. She also said it usually takes at least 6 months to prepare this kind of mission. It's too long. I thought this world was different. That hope was slipping through my fingers.
ではどうすれば里子ちゃんを救えると言うんですか？
日の当たる世界では日の当たる世界のルールで解決するのが、例えば警
There was
察へ相
never
談
a
する、
choice.
児童相談所に相談する。
So I just get teleported into this match and I can't do anything about it. By the way, apparently I already died. So how would I be back alive again to fight a black
学
hole?
校へ相談するのも方法かもしれません。
それは何度もやったけど無駄だった。
Yuria and Takano were surprised. They never expected me to raise my voice. In fact, I didn't think myself that I'd react this way. But I couldn't keep my emotions in check after Takano suggested all those meaningless
私
solutions.
はお前たちにずっと協力してきた。何の見返りも求めず、ただただこの身を捧げて協力してきた。それなのに、どうして里子の一人だけが救えないというのか。あれだけの力を持ちながら、どうして里子を救うことにのみ臆病なのか。何の力にもならない警察や役所、そして利用するだけして何も助けてくれないお前たち。もういい、もういい。私はよくわかった。この世界が袋小路だということがよくわかった。もうお前たちには興味ない。この世界にも未練はない。そうさ、あれだけの幸運に恵まれても結局私はこの運命から逃れられなかった。そうさそうさ、またいつもの運命。お前は山奥で焼かれて死ね。お前は睡眠薬で自ら死ね。そして私は当然のようにまた死のう。どういう殺され方をするのか未だに知らず命を散らそう。ここは運命の袋小路。
行き止まり。私は生まれた時から殺されるために生かされている。みんな死ね死ね。みんな死ね。どうせ終わる世界なんだ。消えてしまえ。
I can't put words to my emotions anymore and started to cry. I was so lucky up until yesterday. I had so much hope in my heart, but it had all been for nothing. I felt like everything was falling apart. I've lived for more than 100 years. I've lived longer than a normal human lifetime. I thought I was blessed with good fortune for the first time in my life. This would never happen to me again. I thought a miracle had occurred, but everything was to be shattered. I cried and cursed this world. I needed to give up on my life as soon as possible. Satsuko will be waiting for me, with a smile in my next one. I wanted to go see her, but what would happen to the Satsuko in this world? What would happen if I abandoned her? I didn't know, and I didn't care. Satsuko. Satsuko, Satsuko, Satsuko. I'm a witch who has lived for 100 years, but I still couldn't rid myself of the human emotions in my heart. I didn't get anything to eat. Satsuko was supposed to be making dinner tonight. But I didn't have an appetite anyway, so I figured I should just... Still had to make lunch for the next day, though. Satsuko might come to school tomorrow. I rinsed the rice, hoping that I wouldn't have to waste the lunch that I was making for the two of us. Hey, Ruben! You just missed Rika's, crash out? I had to stop thinking like that. I already knew it was a waste to make her lunch. I already knew that Satsuko wasn't coming to school ever again. I felt so miserable about rinsing the rice. That tear started dripping into it as I thought about her. What is happening in this? I thought everything changed when Keiichi gave that doll to Mion. In that world, Mion pretended to be her sister for a week and got closer to Keiichi. But that wasn't happening this time. I thought we would be having a good time until the festival. That's odd. Wasn't that club activity 2 weeks before Matsunaga? I had realized something. The club activity was the exact same, but it happened 1 week earlier than the world I knew of. 1 week earlier than my previous life. Get it now. I thought I was familiar with this world, but it was actually a different one where events are mixed up. That means even though Keiichi gave the doll to Mion, that didn't solve everything. I thought I was getting lucky. I was confident that everything was going to be okay. I stopped making an effort. I knew that there was a possibility that Satsuko's uncle was coming back, but I let her do the grocery shopping. I would have been more careful and kept her home if I knew that he was coming back to get her. I should be careful in my next life. But there wouldn't be a next life. That was so fortunate. I didn't get that lucky that often. Even if I locked Satsuko inside the closet, it would be over if Rena's father messed up something, or if Keiichi lost his mind. I have to clear up everything that's not within my reach. And I also have to make the best effort I can. Without that, I can't overcome the fear of 1983. In this life, I may be able to overcome my deadly fate with Takano's help, but Satsuko will not be there in my future. That defeats the whole purpose. My goal is to survive this year while laughing with my best friends. I don't want to sacrifice Satsuko in order to survive. I want to live in the world without her. I was blessed with all those fortunes, but I still couldn't defeat my destiny. I ruined everything because I stopped working so hard. I will never again have a lucky life like this. I lost my first and only chance. I cried and scratched at the floor. I didn't know if I should curse my fate or curse myself for not putting forth enough effort. Before I realized, Anya was standing in front of me. I didn't know how long she had been there. She just stared down at me with pity on her face.
あんたの言いたいことは分かってる。だから運命に期待するなと言った。期待するななんて酷な話よ。あれだけ全てに恵まれた。サイコロを振る前から6が出ると確信できる世界なんて、あれだけの勢いがあればきっと打ち破れると信じた。それでもあんたは期待しすぎるなと。
She probably felt something strange at the toy store that day. She realized that the date was 1 week off and this was not the same old world that I knew. She had realized early on that I still shouldn't be too excited about this life.
僕もリカと一緒にいて短くないのです。だからリカに聞かれると思って先に言いますです。僕にも今日の運命などわかりませんでしたです。ただ僕から助言できるのはただ一つ。 この世の運命なんて、秋の空より気まぐれで、一喜一憂するにも当たらない、祭事に過ぎないということなのです。
There are 6 sides on a die. That's the reality of it, and it doesn't mean that the 6 is the best number either. I should just take any number that I roll. I shouldn't be disappointed if I roll a 1 a few times in a row. It's pathetic how I thought rolling a 6 was the best result you can attain.
100年ちょいを生きるくらいじゃ、そこまで悟るなんて難しいわね。
でもリカ、僕も何度か言いましたが、今回の世界は奇跡ではありませんです。我慢強く待てば、きっとまた巡ってくる世界なのです。
我慢強く待てばって、それは何十年後、何百年後の話なの。もう私たちには力は残っていない。多分再び世界をやり直しても昭和58年の6月より前へは戻れない。それどころか戻れる時間はどんどん短くなっていく。そんな短い日々を再び奇跡が起こるまでずっとずっと繰り返せというの。数年を繰り返す世界ですら狂ってしまいそうになるというのに、たった1、2週間の世界を再び奇跡が起こるまで永遠に生き続けろというの。無理よ。
I was betting on this world. I bet all of my coins on this one world. And I lost. I lost all my coins to this fate. I have no more coins left in my heart. Coins are known as hope. I have no coins left to hope for my dreams to come true.
リカ。
I lay on the floor as I collapsed. The floor should have been cold, but I didn't feel anything.
これが希望をすべて打ち砕かれるということね。
I always thought that people could survive as long as they had some bread and water. That's not right. People can't live without hope. People can survive because they believe something good will happen to them eventually, as long as they keep on living. That's just for normal people who don't know what awaits them in their future. There's no such hope for a witch like me.
もう何もかもがどうでもいい。この世界だけじゃない。これからの世界もすべてどうでもいい。このまま灰になってしまえたら。
But didn't she remember that Keiichi also technically stopped Hojo in one life, right? He killed him.
リカ、そんなことを言ってはダメなのです。リカ。
Ani's voice gradually fades away. I slowly lost my senses as I lay down on the kitchen floor and let myself sink into the darkness. And that's day 1. After a few days, Satoko, or about a week, Satoko will become irreversibly damaged. I dragged my body to school, hoping that Satoko might be there. Very depressing. But just as I expected, there was no one sitting in her seat. I felt all the more devastated just seeing it empty. I had nothing left to bet on. All I could do was get hurt and suffer devastation. Blood flowed from my broken heart and found its way out through my eyes in the form of tears.
フルデさん、どうしましたか？今日は北条さんはお休みですか？
The whole class was wondering why I came in late today, why Satoko wasn't with me. But even I felt sympathy from everyone's eyes on me. I didn't feel any promise from them. No one here was able to save Satoko. No one. No one could save her. But one! Why should I have to keep smiling at all these useless people? This world is finished anyway. I leave matters alone. Then a few days after the Watsunagashi festival, my movie reel will be cut as I murder like usual. I'll return to the beginning of this month again. And so I'll continue to live forever in June 1983. Trapped here. Even death won't set me free from that prison.
フルデさん、何かあったなら話してください。北条さんは今日はどうしたんですか？風邪でお休みですか？
うるさいな。
The whole class gasped. No one expected Rika Furude to talk like that. I myself made such blunt statements a few times in several past worlds, but it was always the first time anyone in that world heard anything like that. And that must have been very easy for them, and I envied it.
フルデさん。
Chie was standing there dumbfounded. I stood up from my seat. If Satsuko wasn't around, I didn't want to be locked up inside of this humid place. Wait, so... Okay, I know this is like a very serious scene, but like... Let me see. I'm hoping that Satoko might be there, but as suspected, there was no one sitting here. Sitting in her seat. So, she walked into class, sat down for like a second. Chie-sensei walked up to her, said something, and then Rika got up and walked out.
帰るわ。
I'm not coming here anymore. Goodbye. I felt like saying something like that. However, I retained the small hope that Satoko might go to school the next day, so I kept it to myself. However, Chie wouldn't let me go. She grabbed me by the arm and dragged me into the teacher's office instead. Chie told me to take a seat on the couch by the principal's office. She had no right to tell me what to do. I could just escape through the open window. Since I didn't have that kind of energy, however, I sat on the couch as she told me to. I realized that I didn't even have the energy to be rebellious. Maybe Satoko felt the same. She lost the energy to rebel, and so she was simply obeying her uncle.
フルデさん、何があったか話してください。先生はきっと力になれますよ。
She spoke to me, but I already knew that her words were empty. All she would do was call the child consultation center. She wouldn't go to the Hojo residence and pull Satoko out from there. There was no point in even discussing the topic with her. If I told her, she wouldn't keep it to herself, and shortly everyone would know what was happening with Satoko. That would only result in chaos. They called the child consultation center. The staff from there will go and visit Satoko. Her uncle will deny the abuse, and Satoko also deny it because of the guilt she feels over Satoshi leaving. Shortly after, they'll find out about the false reports Satoko made before, and they'll decide not to proceed any further. Her uncle will allow Satoko to go to school for a few days, but his abuse will get worse because he thinks she's the one who called the child consultation center. He'll do horrible things to her, just like her aunt did last year. Calling the child consultation center will not help Satoko. It will instead put her in an even worse situation. It's better not to notify them at all. But if we don't report it, then how else is this world supposed to improve? Nothing's gonna change. There's nothing that can be done once this unfortunate fate overtakes Satoko.
北条さんのおじさんがそれは本当ですか？
That somehow answered all of Chie's questions without noticing. I knew that nothing would change whether I spoke to her or not. I just told her everything, because I had no energy to rebel.
だいたい状況はわかりました。大変なことになって。
で、そこまで知って、あなたは何ができるの？
Chie answered right away without faltering, already used to my spiteful tone.
今日、夕方に家庭訪問に行ってみます。まずはさとこちゃんに会って、事情を聞いてみます。
それで問題があるならば、児童相談所に相談するって言うんでしょ。さとこは過去に、嘘の通報をした記録が残ってると思うからね。虐待の確たる証拠がないと、動いてくれないわ。人が殺されるまで捜査をしてくれない警察と全く同じよ。さとこが殺されるまで、相談所は動いてなんかくれない。
I think she does. But I think at this point, it's like she's also trying to lie to herself. She kept hope for so long, right? She kept hope for so long that, and then at the end, Hani was still proven right. So even though she still does hold hope that it can be changed, she's actually, like, her mind, like, she's telling her mind, she's lying to herself that she doesn't have hope, but she actually does.
そうすると、相談所も学校もこう言うの？いじめの兆候は全くなかった。普段は明るくて全く予見できなかったって。誰かが用意してくれたコメントを読み上げるみたいに、同じことを言うのよね。本当に、バカばっかね。
そこは、きっと相談所の人が何とかしてくれると思います。私も、北条さんの窮状をしっかり訴えます。
You've done the same in previous lives too. I wasn't denying her passion, but I couldn't say that there was meaning to it. The problem wasn't with Chie. The problem was with them. No matter how hard Chie tried to seek help from child services, it meant nothing. As long as they held biased notions about Satoko.
そんなの虐待の痕跡があるかどうかなんて関係
but
ないじゃないですか。
I suddenly heard her voice from the hallway. It was Shion's voice. Chie shouted, "Who's there?" And I heard Mion gasping, "Crap!" Must have been listening to our conversation. They were having a quiet discussion outside the door, but Shion accidentally raised her voice. She gets so violent sometimes. 4 people entered the room from the hallway. Mion, Shion, Keiichi, and Dena.
自習だと言ったはずですよ。委員長は皆さんを連れて教室に戻りなさい。
そんな場合じゃないです。さとこに何かあったら先生、どう責任を取るつもりなんですか？
Dude, I don't know. Okay. Listen. I understand that, like, it's a very dire situation, everything. But why are we all taking it out on Chie? Like, come on. There has to be someone better to take it out on. Not Chie.
取れないでしょ？ひよってる場合じゃないです。すぐに行動を起こさなきゃダメです。おねんのバカとかは虐待のちゃんとした証拠がないとむしろ事態を悪化させかねないとか言ってますけど、そんな証拠が残った後じゃ遅いんです。ミオンはサトコを見殺しにする気？そこまで言ってないよ。さっきも言ったように、サトコには過去に虐待 SOS に嘘の通報電話をした経験があって、それ以来マークされてるんだよ。だからしっかりした証拠がなければ、必ず訪問調査だけして様子見ってことになる。それはどういうことか考えなよ。おじの怒りに油を注ぐだけ。サトコを余計追い詰めるだけなんだよ。
くそ、なんだよそれはよ。何かある前に手を施すのが救うってことだろ。サトコに致命的な虐待の痕跡が刻印されるまで放置しろってのか？
Alright, Keiichi. We need 1500 seconds again to kick in. That is true. That is true, Ruben. That is definitely true.
みんな落ち着いて。私もしーちゃんやケイイチくんと同じ意見。何かあるまで様子を見ようなんてのは絶対思わない。なら何ができるのかを考えなくちゃ。
何かってなんだ？児童相談所に相談することだろ。絶対に助けてくれるならいいが、様子見になる確率が高いってミオンはそう言ってるわけだろ。
うん、悔しいけど昨年がそうだったように今年もそうなる可能性が極めて高い。しかも今年は昨年に比べたら状況がまだまだ甘いの。去年はサトコが十分に追い詰められている状態だった。でも今回はまだおじに連れ去られて1日しか経ってない。しかもおじは1年間放置していたとはいえ親権を持ってるし。そんな回りくどいことなんか必要ないでしょ。そんな野郎待ち伏せてぶっ殺してやればいい。
しーちゃん、そんなのダメ。サトシくんはそんなのを絶対に喜ばないよ。
じゃあサトコをどうやって助ければいいんです。サトシくんに頼まれた。サトコを頼むって頼まれた。私サトコに何かあったらサトシくんに顔向けできないよ。サトコがいじめ抜かれた後じゃないと手が打てないなんて、そんなの方法じゃない。目の前で現在進行している犯罪はまず通報するの？違うでしょ。止めなきゃ。私たちの手で自ら止めなきゃ。落ち着きなよシオン。おねえ、その先本家の闘志でしょ。本家の力でサトコを助けてよ。できるでしょ。サトコ一人を助けるくらいの力は十分にあるでしょ。おねえ、分かってるよ。ダム戦争で遺恨が残る北条家には一切関わらないって鬼ババの方針なんでしょ。サトコがどうなろうと見て見ぬふりというのがその先本家の方針なんでしょ。児童相談所に助けられなくてその先家にも助けられないなら私がやるしかないじゃないですか。私はやるよ。サトコを不幸にするやつはぶっ殺してやる。
Wow, Shiona's already like it at least took Keiichi a while. Like it took Keiichi a couple days. He had to see Satoko Satoko like in class completely just devoid of emotion. Shion like literally hears like fragments of a conversation and she's already decided.
今すぐ殺してやる。この場からサトコの家まで行って刺し殺すのに1500秒もかからないんだから。あんたたちには1500秒で何ができる？何もできないでしょ。
Okay, but seriously, why does this 1500 seconds thing? Why does this come up again?
私が助ける。私がサトコを助けるの。話してよ、話してよ。今から殺しに行くんだから。シオンさん、お静かになさい。物騒なことをこれ以上言うと怒りますよ。
They were desperately discussing how to save her. I just sat on the couch and stared at them vaguely. I'd seen the same discussion many times in many different situations. I was tired of listening to it. The only difference was that everything was happening a few days earlier than usual.
リカ、大丈夫。もう何にも期待なんかしないから。期待なんて、どこにも残ってない。
That is true, Ruben. That is true. Anya made a sad expression. I couldn't tell if she was sad about our fate or if she was taking pity on me. Just as she promised, Chie went to Satoko's house after school. It had only been a day since Satoko's uncle took her away. She wouldn't be able to tell if he'd heard already or not. The students hadn't made such a big fuss about it. Chie would have waited a couple days before going to her house. She already knew, however, about what happened to Satoko in the previous year. She already knew that her uncle was abusing her, just like her aunt, and that he had neglected to act as her guardian for the whole year. Considering those factors, it might have been too soon for her to visit the Hojo residence, or might not have been too soon for her to visit the Hojo residence. Satoko hadn't shown up in school that day. No one called the school to explain her absence. That alone was proof that her uncle wasn't taking responsibility as her guardian. Chie was going to go to her house to see what was going on with her own eyes. She parked the car on the street and checked the map she brought from the school. It said Hojo residence on the sign in front of the house. She was certain this had to be the place. The window on the second floor was open and she could see a curtain hanging there. From that window she could hear the laughing voices of several old men. No one had answered the phone when she called right before leaving the school. You could also hear the clicking noise of mahjong tiles along with the voices. She had never played mahjong before, but had a pretty good idea that was what it was from the way the men were talking. They were playing mahjong. There must have been 3 other men inside the house. Her students had told her that Satoko's uncle was a very violent man. He was a teacher, true. She was also just a young lady. She felt hesitant to ring the doorbell after hearing their disgusting laughter. Courage drove her forward. She made her decision and rang the doorbell. She heard the bell ring inside the house, but the laughing voices continued to echo from the second floor. It seemed as though they didn't hear the bell. She rang the bell again, and this time the laughter stopped for a moment. Someone must have heard the sound, but soon after they started laughing again. It didn't sound like anyone was coming to get the door. She thought someone heard the bell, but perhaps not. Chie was sure they were home, of course. She couldn't just leave because no one was answering the door. She knocked and yelled loudly this time.
こんにちは。北条さん、いらっしゃいませんか?
Finally, the laughter stopped, and a man with a scary look on his face opened the door.
なんじゃいね、踊れは。やかましか、とっととうせえ。
Peter felt intimidated by him, but her heart was filled with the teacher's pride and responsibility.
こんにちは。北条さんでいらっしゃいますか? 私。
Before she could introduce herself, Teppei screamed at her.
やかましか。新聞も牛乳も保険も間に合っとんねん。わしゃ今むっちゃ忙しいよ。仕事中じゃいね。
People in the room laughed when he told her he was working. Chie wouldn't give up. She continued to speak.
私、ひなみ沢文庫教諭の千恵と申します。北条さと子さんはいらっしゃいますか？
なあ、なんじゃよ踊れ。なんで踊りにさと子合わせねえならんねん。
今日、北条さんが学校をお休みしましたけれど、連絡がなかったもので、何かあったのかと思いお伺いさせていただきました。
ああ、学校？
はい。さと子ちゃんはいますか？ちょっとお話ししたいことがあるのですが。
ああ、風邪なんね。そうそう。さと子は風邪で熱出してるんですわ。
プリントとかをお渡ししたいので、ちょっとだけお話しすることはできませんか？
ドアホ！踊れ話聞いてなかったんかい。さと子は風邪じゃ。うなっとるね。それを合わせられるかいボケ。
そうですか。明日は登校できそうですか？
知るかいな。そんなもん明日になってみなきゃわからんわ。このクソボケ。
そうですか。わかりました。では、さと子ちゃんによろしくお伝えください。失礼します。
Chie bowed, but by the time she lifted her head, Teppei was no longer there. When Chie returned to the school, several students emerged from the classroom. They were Keiichi, Rena, Mion, and Shion. Rika was still also inside the classroom, but she wouldn't come outside.
先生、どうでしたか？
さと子のとこに行ってきたんですよね。皆さん、それが聞きたくて待っていたんですか？
千恵先生、里子はどうでしたか？無事でしたか？
それが会わせてもらえませんでした。
あんた何しに行ったんですか？教師でしょ？ガキの使いじゃないんです。会えませんでした、そうですかで帰ってきちゃ意味ないじゃないですか。やめなよシオン。そんなこともあるだろうって予想できたことだよ。どうせ里子の顔に青技があるに決まってます。
She does. Yeah, she definitely does. But sadly, she like is a teacher that just lives out in the like middle of nowhere. So I can't imagine the pay is very high no matter what.
だから会わせられないんです。そこは無理やり押しのけても家の中に踏み入るくらいしなきゃダメなんです。だからもう先生なんて信用できないって言いました。
本当にごめんなさい。
やめなよしーちゃん。先生はできる範囲の最善を尽くしてくれたよ。
だが、これで本当にはっきりしたな。その里子のおじってやつが、里子を家に閉じ込めているってのは、どうやら間違いないみてえだ。
そんなの確かめる前から分かってます。リカちゃまがそうだって昼間からずっと言ってるじゃないですか。それを確かめるだけに半日費やしたんですよ。それでどうするんですか？どうやって里子を助けるつもりですか？だから落ち着きなって。それをみんなで考えようよ。シオンが里子のことを大事だと思うように決して見殺しになんかしない。私たちにできることを考えようよ。そうですね。私はもう考えて提案しましたよ。私がたった一人で今日中に決着できるものすごくお手軽な方法です。死体を隠すとこだけお姉の力を借りますが。
だからしーちゃん、物騒な話をするのはやめて。しーちゃんは人殺しのことを簡単に考えすぎなの。人を殺せば解決できるなんて考え方はおよそ思いつく考えの中で最低の最低、本当の最低のことなの。
That's why she's my goat right now.
なら他に提案をしてみてくださいよ。
She's been my goat since chapter... What? Actually, yeah, since chapter 2. And she still is my goat.
私の提案が最低の最低なら私よりほんのちょっぴり上等な程度でいいですから、代案を聞かせてください。ほら何も言えないじゃないですか。私なら1500秒で里子を救える。お姉の力なんか借りられなくてもいい。死体なんか私が引きずって鬼ヶ淵の沼にでも放り込んでやる。ほら提案してくださいよ。これより早くてすぐに里子を救える方法を。
だからそうじゃないの。一人で悩んだらそんなことしか考えられないの。ならはっきり言ってあげるよ。1500秒かかりすぎでしょ、そんなの。私なら1000秒かけないよ。
Okay, Renna, why is this the thing we're debating about?
しーちゃんなんかみたいにぐちぐち言わずに黙って教室を出て行ってもう実行してるよ。なんでそうしないと思う？昔誰かに教えられたことがあるの。たとえそれしか方法がなかったとしても殺人に訴えるのはいけないこと。
Who said that? If murder's the only option you have, murder is still something you should never do? Who said that?
正しいことじゃない。最善手なんかじゃないの。
I don't remember that ever being said to her.
それしかないと思ってしまうことが一人で悩むことの限界なの。
I'm assuming it's another memory, but I have no clue who said that to her. Like, I feel like it would be a very important thing. Oh, a long time ago, I don't know who told me this, but someone taught it to me. Maybe that troubles you. You can... Okay, well this is the Keiichi thing that says, but I don't remember the part where he says, murder is something you should never do, even if it's the only option you have. I don't remember him saying that. Give me a second. You can't think that's your own solution. That your own solution is the best way to conclude things.
みんなで考える。みんなで悩む。確かに、今この瞬間は、しーちゃんの短絡的な提案に対する提案をできないけど、私たちがみんなで考えれば、絶対にそれよりいい解決策が見つけられるよ。
いいとか悪いとかの問題じゃないです。1分1秒でも無駄な時間を費やせば、里子がどんな乱暴されるか考えればいいじゃないですか。 北条って姓がそんなに憎らしい。サトシ君やサトコがどんなに辛くても誰も手を差し伸べないの。私が助けるご託なんてもうたくさん。そこをどいてよ。そこまで言うなら今から行ってくる。あいつをサクッと殺してサトコを助け出してくる。
ダメだよしーちゃん。しーちゃん。
お前たちは呪ってろ。自分たちの無力さをいつまでも。
yeah, yeah.
そしてより集まって思いつきもしない妙案を議論し合えばいい。そうしてサトコのために何かしているという免罪符を得ながらサトコを看板に見殺しにしていけばいい。あんたたちは誰もサトコのことを大事に思ってないんだ。
This is the exact same thing that Keiichi was saying to them in chapter 3. Like, this is basically the exact same thing he was saying.
サトコのことなんか遊び友達だとしか思ってないんだ。私は違う。サトコは友達以上家族だとすら思ってる。あんたたちとはサトコを大事に思う心が
This
違
is
うの。
literally the exact same thing Keiichi was saying.
じゃあね、殺してくるね。さようなら。
待ちな。
何を邪魔する気ですか？
シオン、お前、レナの言ったことが半分も理解できてねえだろ。
半分どころかお釣りが来るくらいに理解してますよ。殺しをするほんのちょっとの度胸があればすぐに救えるのに、それをきれい事でごまかす偽善の話ですよね。
シオン、お前が人殺しをしてまでサトコを救ったとしてサトコは感謝すると思ってるのか？
感謝が欲しいわけじゃないです。
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what I think.
別に私は差し違えてもいい。それでサトコが幸せになれるなら本望なんですから。
違うな。口先の威勢はなかなかいいが、お前には差し違える度胸なんかありゃしねえな。その証拠に、お前はさっきミオンに死体を隠すのを頼みたいようなことを言ったじゃねえか。それはつまり差し違えたくない、叔父をぶっ殺した後元の平穏な生活に戻りたいって願望の表れじゃねえか。
Okay, she's gonna be speaking from experience here. One Tepe Hojo murderer to a Tepe Hojo murderer wannabe. He's gonna be literally passing on his past experience.
お前が本当に望んでいる
We
世
get
界
to hear
は
birth and death though.
ついこの間までの世界。俺たちみんなが仲良く楽しく過ごしていたあの世界への回帰なんだ。だがな、お前が殺人を犯せば絶対にその世界へは戻れない。そうそう簡単に完全犯罪なんかができると思うなよ。お前は絶対に逮捕される。
それくらい覚悟の上です。サトコの苦しみを私が懲役で買われるなら本望です。
違うな違うな、絶対にそれは違うな。お前は自分を呪うぜ。かけてもいい。どうして自分が殺人なんて貧乏くじを引かなくちゃならなかったのか未練がましく自分を呪うんだ。そしてその時になってようやくシオンが本当に求めていたことに気がつくんだよ。それは叔父を殺すことじゃない、みんなと元の世界に戻ることだ。そしてそれは殺人を犯すことで台無しになってしまうんだよ。そしてお前が自分を呪うようにサトコも自分を呪うだろうな。自分が原因でシオンが殺人を犯す羽目になったとずっと後悔すると思う。第一、お前がいなくなったら誰がサトコにカボチャを食わせるんだよ。誰がサトコと陰険なトラップの相談をするんだよ。お前だろ。園崎シオンだろ。お前が本当に目指す世界にはお前がサトコの脇にいなければダメなんだよ。そこを間違えるな。サトコのためだと錯覚して自ら取り返しのつかない間違いを犯すんじゃない。
そこまで言うならケイちゃんはサトコを救う方法を何か提案できるんですか？できないでしょ。口先だけの綺麗事で。だからそこをどいて殺す。私が今から殺しに行く。
And she blocked away by standing in front of the door. Shion gave him a hateful glare, but he just sent back a confident
シ
smile.
オンを行かせるわけにはいかねえ。俺たちの望む世界はシオンが欠けたら成立しない。だから俺はお前を生かさないぞ。
ほう、そうですか。ならケイちゃんは北条哲平をかばってるってわけですね。なら同罪だ。お前から先に頭を叩き割ってやる。ちょっとバカシオン、やめなよ。シオンさん、その椅子をどうするつもりですか？やめなさい。椅子を床に置きなさい。ケイちゃんが この後に及んでまだ私が本気だって分かってないならマジで血見ます。謝んなくていいですからとっととどきやがれってんです。
シオン、確かに今この瞬間俺はよりいい提案をできない。でもそれは今思いついてないだけのことだ。俺たちはきっと貞子を助けるもっとマシな方法を考え出す。絶対にだ、絶対に俺たちが貞子を救う。だからな、信じろ。
仲間である貞子のために手を汚さない連中に貞子を仲間呼ばわりされたくないです。もう一度は言わない。そこをどきやがれ。
シオンこそ頭を冷やして考え直せ。俺たちはきっと貞子を救える。それを信じろ。だから短絡的な考えに走るんじゃない。仲間を信じろ。仲間呼ばわりされたくないってんなら俺を前原圭一が必ず貞子を救う。だからそいつにかけてみろ。
黙れ無力。お前なんか信じられるか。お前にどうやって貞子が救えるというのか。シオン。
Shion threw the chair at Keiichi. It hit him hard and the chair fell to the floor with a loud noise. But Keiichi was in phase even after being struck. He just stood in front of the exit without even cowering his face. Wait, he wasn't phased? A trail of blood was pouring from his forehead where the corner of the chair hit him.
答えねえな。その程度で俺が道を譲ると思ったかよ。殺されたって俺はここをどかねえぞ。お前を生かせればシオンのいない世界になる。その世界ではいなくなったお前のことをずっと思って毎日うつむいている貞子がいるんだ。俺たちがどうやって慰めてもその場だけは元気そうにするがすぐにまたうつむいてしまう。そんな悲しい世界があるんだ。俺は貞子にそんな悲しい世界を見せたくない。俺たちが描く世界は昨日までがそうだったようにみんなで楽しく過ごして暴れて遊べるあの世界だ。
I don't think I've heard that word before. Riotous.
もちろんおじの野郎なんかに二度と貞子を泣かすような真似はさせない。それがどういう方法なのか今この場では確かに思いついていない。でもそれは絶対に思いつく。絶対だ。だから俺を信じろ。
Shion wasn't yet convinced, but even so, she walked to the window and took her seat. When he rested a hand on Keiichi's shoulder, it was the principal, who'd been standing there and listening to him for a while.
校長先生。
よく耐えた。千恵先生、一部始終は聞かせてもらいましたぞ。
私が至らぬばかりに申し訳ありません。
Oh yeah, last time wasn't the principal on like a business trip in chapter 3 at least?
昨日の今日の出来事ではあるが、わしももはや猶予のならない事態だと思っておる。しかるべきところへすぐに連絡するべきであろ
でも校長先生、児童相談所には過去にも相談したことがあって。どうせ助けてなんかくれませんよ。他力本願もいいとこです。
Shion raised her voice. The principal looked at Shion and started
その
talking.
崎シオン君、私は言葉の中で最も憎むべきものがあるのを知っている。それが何かわかるかね。今君が言ったどうせという言葉だ。どうせという言葉は戦いもせず負けを認める最も醜い言葉だ。その言葉を口にした時すでに戦いには負けておるのである。
私も校長先生の意見に賛成。どんな策があるにせよ頼るべき順序があると思うの。
The simple guy who I've like always think this. Keiichi, the higher the pressure, the better his character is. His character, or like he performs very well under pressure, and like can pull himself out. Like under pressure is when he's at his best. When there's no, like when people are like there's literally no pressure, that is when he's at his worst. That's what I think.
児童相談所に相談するのは多分一番最初にするべきことなんだと思う。それでダメなら2番目の手、3番目の手を考えればいい。試しもしないうちから諦めるのは私は見殺しにするのと何も変わらないと思うから。
校長、 もちろん通報するからには絶対里子を助けてもらえるように言い含めてくれるんですよね。
無論だ。北条君はわしの可愛い教え子である。
Rika hasn't said anything. This is all stuff that has happened before.
きっと助けてもらえるよ
It
うわ
doesn't
しに
matter
できる最善を尽く
if
す。
you know, Rika hasn't. You say if Rika hasn't cared.
児童相談所は迅速ですから、今から通報すればきっと今夜にはもう動いてくれるでしょう。
それで里子が救われればいいんだけど、もしもまた様子見なんてことになったら。
それがダメだったら次の手を考えようよ。私たちが諦めない限り絶対に里子ちゃんを救えるんだから。
いつまでも綺麗事を言っててください。そうしてのんびりしてるうちに里子は癒しようのない心の傷を負うんです。見殺しにしてるのはどっちなんですよ。
シオン、俺はさっき約束したからな。俺たちは絶対に里子を救う。それもお前みたいに差し違えてでもなんて話じゃない。里子が本当に幸せになれるような最高の形で救い出してみせる。見てろ、絶対だからな。前原圭一が絶対と言ったらそれは絶対なんだ。
Shion stared out the window without looking at Keiichi's face.
園崎家の方で児童相談所がどういう判断を下すか確認するよ。分かったらみんなに電話するよ。
それで無事保護されることに決まれば最高だからな。
もちろん楽観はできないね。様子見になる可能性が。
That she's being used. Her uncle will assume that she's the one who called the service and he'll abuse her even more. He'll come to school tomorrow because he doesn't want the child consultation center to be suspicious of him. You'll feel more and more hopeless with the dead look in Satoko's eyes. Where is this Keiichi in Season 1? Yeah, I think that's fair. But Keiichi in Season 1, I don't think got to thrive. I've been living for more than 100 years, but I never felt this... Never defeated this fate. The fate of her uncle's return. I was blessed with so much luck, and I thought I could defeat it this time. In the end, it came down to the same thing. It was a waste of energy to put in any effort. Worthless. The more I thought about it, this inescapable fate, the more I pitied these people for talking endlessly about how they were going to save Satoko. Satoko. But Keiichi defied fate once, Rika. Defied fate once. I'm sure he can do it again. Everyone defied fate here, actually. Yeah, actually, did everyone defy fate? I guess Mion doesn't really. He's like her own entity. Keiichi defied, Mion defied, and Venna defied. Anyone else did? No clue. I guess we'll see. Wet blanket. Why is this at Venna's house? Teppei returned to Hinamizawa to escape some trouble. You have to stay there for the rest of summer, perhaps the whole year, and see what happened. The house in Hinamizawa was a rather dull hiding place. His lover Dina had suddenly disappeared. Rumors told him that she was involved with some dangerous deal. Some source even told him that she had already been caught and killed. Everyone he knew was aware that Dina was living with him. Everyone also assumed that he knew everything about what Dina did. Yeah, I don't like that either. We're convinced that he got money by tricking her into doing something. As a result, some dangerous men came after him. That made it difficult for him to stay in Okinomiya. More than anything, it pissed him off to find out that Dina was cooking up something behind his back with some other guys. Hinamizawa was about the only place he could go. He couldn't go back to the house where he used to live with his wife, as it had been abandoned since he moved into Satoko's house. Besides, he didn't even have the key to his old place. But if he went to Satoko's house, she should still be there. And she could clean and cook for him too. Teppei didn't know how to cook or clean, and he certainly wasn't thinking of learning. Dina had often been rebellious towards Teppei. He had often said that he wanted to be with someone more loyal, like a pet. For Teppei, Satoko was exactly what he wanted. Now Satoko is still a little kid. She can't satisfy him sexually. They'll at least make her wash his back in the bath. Satoko's dead mother used to be a pretty woman. Satoko might grow up to become a pretty lady like herself in about 4 or 5 years. Teppei headed back to Hinamizawa with those indecent thoughts in his head. The house was locked, so he assumed that she was at the market for grocery shopping. Found her at the grocery store and dragged her back home. However, the house was full of dust. She'd been living at her friend's house for the past year, and the house had been abandoned. Teppei exploded in anger. He told her that it was her responsibility to keep the house in order. He beat her and kicked her down to the floor. Eventually, Satoko's expression returned to what he remembered it from 1982. Satoko started obeying him immediately, cleaning up the house. He placed to hide with the new life was starting out pretty good. Teppei called his buddies to show off his new beginning, and ended up playing mahjong with them. He bragged about his new pet and made her serve them food and drinks. He told her to walk on all fours like a real pet. She refused, but she obeyed him immediately when he tried to hit her. Everyone was laughing, and they were all jealous of him. Teppei felt really good about himself. However, someone arrived to interrupt this perfect life.
私、ひなみざわ文庫教諭の千恵と申します。北条聡子さんはいらっしゃいますか?
He thought someone was at his door to sell insurance or something, but it was a school teacher.
ああ、なんじゃよ、踊り。なんで踊りに聡子合わせにゃならんね。
今日、北条さんが学校を。はい、
Okay,
ちょっと。
this is just the exact dialogue. I'm just gonna skip this.
ドアホ、聡子、それ合わせられるかい、バカ。
This was gonna cause him problems, Teppei realized. Satoko was just a pet for him, and he has no intention of sending her to school. But her teacher had shown up to his house just because she missed one day. This wasn't good. Teppei hates schools, and he really hates teachers.
そうですか。
知るかい。
では、失礼します。
He was able to get rid of the teacher, but it would create more problems if he didn't send Satoko to school tomorrow. Teppei didn't even need more trouble on his plate. That meant he couldn't beat up Satoko like he wanted to. Violence was the only way he knew how to communicate. But that other picture was very difficult for him. He wanted to beat up Satsuko, but that would leave evidence on her body. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to send her to school. And if she didn't go to school, that the teacher would show up at his doorstep again. Shit. On top of all that, the Child Consultation Center paid a visit to his house that night. The teacher must have filed a report. That bitch! Next time I'll beat her in her face so hard she made plastic surgery. And Satsuko was afraid of him. She pretended she really was sick when the social worker visited. It was so easy for Teppei to control her. He considered Satsuko to be a convenient pet. But at the same time, he'd need to be careful at the consultation center.
Wait,
but that is already different. Because Chie went to the house. And Teppei doesn't think that Satsuko called the people on him. Meaning, and he's also worried about sending her to school with bruises in it. That is very different comparatively to before. That is still different compared to before. A small change, but it is a change nonetheless. That is still a very meaningful change. Could snowball into something else. Maybe it snowballs into him actually taking care of her. In, like, not taking care of her in terms of like an actual guardian, right? But he's not going to... He has to lighten what he does. Potentially. Well, that's painful to read again, yeah. Yeah. Awful. Yeah, these segments are long overall. Like, almost, like, from an hour 30 to 2 hours, each segment has been. So, yeah, a bunch of stuff. I'm going to be heading out now. We're getting through Higurashi, and I think it's gotten past the initial point of stuff. In terms of like the happy-go-lucky things that they always had. Also, I really wonder what role Akasaka will play in this. Oh yeah, that's another thing that changed. It was the three I was talking about: Rena, Keiichi, and Shion. Akasaka also appeared. That is a fourth thing. He has never done that before in any other timeline. At least that we understand from what Rika remembered. Keiichi was able to talk down Shion. Yep. A lot of things. A lot of things. Okay. That will be it. That's got to be a change, right? Well, Shion, I think, rarely even shows up, right? For Satoko. Like, if ever. This is like one of the first times I think that she, maybe the first time. Like, I can't remember the exact words that they use, but like Shion appearing here, right, is completely new. From my knowledge. So like, just her appearing is definitely something, like some positive. And maybe Shion will be able to see something that maybe the others alone couldn't figure out. Maybe Shion having, like, knowing Kasai and all that stuff, would, yeah. That'll be it from me. Thank you for everyone who stopped by the stream. I appreciate it, and I'll be back with more Higurashi when they cry.